Okay, do you guys want to start talking so I can see if the desktop audio is going okay?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Certainly can.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yay! Hi guys!
I've got your stream muted.
Why is Geoff gray? That's weird.
It's with worry. You turned him grey with worry.
Hello everybody who's been hanging out and hyped to start. I'm so sorry we're late. It's entirely my fault. I needed to say that out loud before Aldous got there. Because it was only a matter of time.
They all knew. They all knew.
God damn it. God damn it, you still find a way. Hi everybody. Excited feeling when you lined up the band. You really, oh, Geoff's excited. So do you guys have the stream up for you as well?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys can still see chat.
Got it up with audio muted so I can see chat. Yeah.
Perfect. Hello, lovelies. Whoa, a mucky, says Flames.
I know, right? He has a face.
He has a face and everything.
Who knew?
And everything.
Really, Penny? Everything? You want to go that far?
Well, I usually do. What's so different about today?
Wow.
I mean...
Secrets revealed on stream live.
Flip it.
I love how she's got our cameras flipped the wrong way.
God, okay, you know what? I don't know how to flip them when it's not like a camera.
Well, no, technically I'm looking this way because I have Discord over here so I can look at the camera. So I'll be turned that direction. It'll be fine.
Flip yourself. Flip yourself, Mucky.
I can't.
I wasn't talking to you. Go flip yourself.
Anything technical that being asked is of me. Sorry.
I'll flip myself, all right. I'll flip in the table.
You're like fucking nerds. See,
this is 2 minutes 20 into the first session. First table flip confirmed. There we go.
Yeah, Mucky's reaction to realizing he's one of us.
No, well, his Facebook ads realized long before he did.
Mucky, you are one now, says Max. Oh, shots fired.
And we're revealing all the animated background.
Revealing everything.
There it is.
Oh man, is there a way for you to have the trailer background in this situation? How funny.
Yeah. I'm sure we can arrange that.
Hi, Redneck Jedi. Hello, darling.
Hello. Oh, we should let them know about the sound alerts. Remind them anyway.
Yes. So, things. Oh, yeah. I went through last night, and I'm gonna tell you right now. You know how I pride myself on having all the alerts? Well, last night it bit me in the ass hard because I had to go through and mute each and every single one individually in order for them not to play on stream. So
and test each one individually.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time on it. A lot of time.
We'll add this to the list of things Evolved has really enjoyed helping with over the last
Oh my god. Oh, we were like bickering with each other like brother and sister over this too. He's like, well, do it this way. I was like, I did do it this way already. I was like, we were both like at our limits last night. We're just like, it's getting so close. Why didn't we do this sooner? It's like, well, because we were doing other things. I know.
Because you can't do this sooner, actually.
I know, you can't. So that's it's a whole thing. We're figuring out all the things that go into this, like, as we go along. But so for chat, that is a big reminder.
I think you used Stream Elements for your alerts, though, right?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I'm lightweight tempted to figure out how to transition everything over because this was just so much to do. But so what we're going to do is, yes, you can still do hi Buzz, sorry, yeah, all sound alerts completely gone. Channel point alerts, all of those have been silenced. They will not be heard in stream.
They're not gone. The audio is.
They're silenced.
They're not coming back. They're not coming back. Penny's not going to have alerts on a stream anymore. It's just going to be total silence.
Like everything that made me unique is just gone.
Everybody, while they're watching her stream, just needs to have some quiet contemplation of their choices in life. With no sounds that distract them, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just think about
You
think
can't
about
be
your
the
choices.
attention horse tonight. Pay me attention.
So I like the way people are actually now trying to test this out to see they don't trust that you've actually muted them effectively, so they're trying to see if they work.
Well, Evolved helped me, so you know it actually works. Had I done it on my own, I would have just ended up having to make it more work. But so yes, sound alerts are going to be silenced. All normal alerts, bits and donos and subs, raids, hosts, follows, they will all show up on the screen, but you will not hear them. They have each been silenced. Every single one of them has been silenced.
Brian has also been silenced, as well as Lupe.
Oh yeah, Brian and Lupe have also been. I was like, B-Rai? What? See, this is what you've done to me.
What did you do to Brian?
I know, I was like, hey, leave Buzz alone. Testing, thank you.
I mean, you were threatening to kill him yesterday. No, he's not to be found today, so...
Hold on a second.
Because she knew she was having the real thing today, not the pale imitation.
So, I'm gonna put that on top. Yeah, okay, that should look, there we go. So yes, you can see it on the screen, but it's gonna be silenced. That's all stream long. Tonight I will have to go through and undo everything again. Not super stoked about that. Hi, Kragus. I know.
One by one.
Yeah. And then there's also sound alerts, and then there's also TTS that I have to remember to do. So that way I don't get like yelled at on Monday when somebody's like, my message didn't get read out by Brian.
I will remember. I will remind you. I guess I have one more late night.
Yeah.
Every week.
Well, I have more for us to work on tonight too, thanks to Mucky. But
Yes, you do. Mucky's second job. Third job.
Yeah. Second being the diamond polishing.
Got my little diamond polishing cloth.
Always polishing his rocks, that's all.
So yes, that's the big
Diamond polish.
thing to remember. We've created I think some commands for it. We've also created timers to remind people, especially those that haven't been here from the beginning, who will be like, what happened to the alerts? So for the mods, if you want to go check out the commands that we created one for wild magic to help people understand what wild magic is and what it means to redeem them. We are not redeeming them this stream. We will try and find an organic opportunity to introduce it during this stream, so that way you guys can kind of just get a feel for what it is. But
we should be able to see the channel point redemptions for the wild magic, though, right?
No,
because we don't.
I turned them off.
No.
They're not up yet, and I did that on purpose because it's just too much of a temptation. So they're going to be implemented next week. We tried to create commands and timers to remind people of all these things, but there's undoubtedly going to be some things that need a little bit of work. So sorry to give you such last minute notice. I slept in. Again, this is entirely my fault. I slept in too much. I was going to try and have a conversation with my mods, but I didn't have the chance to do that. So for the sake of moving this along, since we're already half an hour in, we're going to go ahead and show you some of the stuff, except for this. So the stuff you're seeing right now is some of the stuff you guys didn't get to see on our reveal stream. Everything you're seeing on this screen right now, every single last bit, the fire, the flying wolf dragon, the background, our banners, the like swirly smoke that surrounds us, Aldis's whole border, Mucky made all of those. Mucky has put in so much work for this whole look. He did this all on his own, and then he put all of his work together. Yeah, big cheers to Mucky.
But it literally only took him about one evening, and he said to us, he said to us, he definitely didn't want chat to tell him what a good job he'd done.
Evolved, your player's command didn't work.
Oh dear.
My player's command didn't work?
Yeah.
It's probably because it's set up for the 40 lines.
No, that one's supposed to be a command that we can trigger. Anyways, no. We'll figure that out later.
I'm in it right now anyway.
Okay. But yeah, Mikey put in all the work. When he was finally done, and he was just like, crumble, grumble, work with my material. And we're like, maybe later. He's like, I spent hours and days on this. We're like, that's nice.
I'm just glad they can actually see the swirly smoke around it.
Yes.
The reveal stream, it was all hidden. So it's like...
Yeah. Yeah. So now we have everything showing. This is all Mucky's work.
It works.
Mucky did perfect. It didn't work for me. I wonder why.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work completely. Hold on, I gotta adjust it. Go ahead, keep going.
And so then he gave everything over to Evolved, and Evolved helped me put everything together so that it looks as perfect as it does. So yes, this is teamwork at its like best, honestly.
It's a huge team effort. Everybody involved has put a lot of work into it.
Lots of work. I fixed it.
But praise me a bit more. Just a little bit more.
Alrighty. Seriously though, Mucky did awesome. Yes,
Well
yes,
done,
he
Mucky.
did.
There you go. That's your smidgen more.
That's your little pat on the head.
Pat.
Hello, pat, Mucky. And then so there's actually a lot of work for what we're about to show you. Was going to be the intro to each and every one of our streams moving forward. Is a big, huge effort by Evolved Evil, and with again more help from Mucky and getting it, and figuring out how to make it work. They worked on it together.
Barely involved.
Still, both of you did amazing on this. Great, huge thank you to Evolved Evil, because you guys are gonna freaking love this. All right, so we gotta for this part. Here we go.
I'm nervous. This is live on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he is Juji. Maybe he is.
I reveal nothing.
Holy crap, I'm excited. Oh my god.
I'm so glad that worked.
I was sitting here watching your guys' faces through that too. I was sitting here like, love it.
Now the sweat can stop.
Oh.
I'm actually comfortable now. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Evolve's done now. He can leave.
I know, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just hired him as a player, like as a ruse to get him to do all the tech work for us.
I was in NPC the whole time.
Oh my god.
Man.
Oh.
I changed my mind. I'm coming back. Fuck you guys.
You're like, oh, play. Let me play with you guys. You seem so cool. Oh gosh. And so just as everybody can see here, this is the scene that we're going to be playing on throughout the session. And once we get into session, we're not going to be engaging with you anymore, because that's going to be the thing about it. But we're in the intro, so we're just going to kind of walk through it. You can see our art is cycling through. If at any point, if you guys are artists and you feel inspired by something that you see in our session today or any session moving forward, if you submit it to any one of us, if you submit some art that you've drawn from the session that you just watched, if you submit it to any one of us, we will add it to this reel and it will play on the next session. We will include your guys' art in the next session. So with that being said, is there any more that we need to go over before jumping into session?
I don't think so. I think you've covered it all, and
Yes.
Nothing to stop you jumping in if you suddenly remember something.
Okay. Bentley, yes, Ajo did all of the art. The only exception being the map, and that was all Aldous' doing. He created the map. So including Nine's Peaks. So
Sound alerts. No, we got the timers set for.
Did you just say penny
fire
erections? Did anybody else hear penny erections?
No, no one else heard
Mucky heard it. Mucky heard a penny. Look at his face. He heard it.
He heard it because you keep saying it.
Yeah. He heard.
We all heard it.
There's penny erections.
I don't want to think about your erections. I'm underneath you.
This is exactly how it was always meant to be. Okay.
Oh dear.
All right, guys. So for chat, this is where we're going to probably stop interacting with you vocally, and we're going to move over into chat. If we have any comments that we make to you, we'll be typing them up. And we're going to let Aldous take it away.
All right. So, you guys have seen the map of the region of Gerdorn, which is where our adventure scene opens. Gerdorn is a slightly out of the way region of the Forgotten Realms. It lies a couple of hundred miles, I should say, northeast of the city of Waterdeep, which is one of the biggest cities on the coast. It's generally regarded as a little bit of a backwater, but some increasingly interesting things have started to happen in Gerdorn recently. About 3 months ago, there were some mysterious flashes in the night sky of sort of green-coloured light. Nobody quite knows where they came from or where they were, but it's causing events in Gerdorn to grow increasingly disturbed. The astrologers and the seers in the capital have read increasingly dire portents in the sky, and the knights of Gerdorn are being mustered in the capital city, but this leaves the borders and the hinterlands of Gerdorn a little bit more vulnerable, and some of the isolated villagers have begun to experience more attacks by monsters, and so that is kind of where we join Gerdorn, and we start with the first of our characters, who actually lives in Gerdorn, although has not necessarily been there for very long or explored much of it, and that is Demea. Demea, would you like to tell us just a little bit about your character as we set off into the adventure with you?
Well, Dimea is a tiefling cleric of the Tempest. I always forget the name for it. Not order, but domain. Domain. And she was orphaned really young and kind of had a bit of a rough childhood because, well, she's a tiefling. People don't really like tieflings, so she has a big chip on her shoulder and doesn't want to get close to people.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And Demea suffered the fate that a lot of tieflings suffer, which was sort of being driven out of various communities and made to feel fairly uncomfortable. But was eventually found her way to the town of Goodhearth, where a man happened upon her by the name of Gorion, and he was a cleric of the goddess Mialiki, who's a sort of goddess of the forest, and he kind of recognized something in you, and he took you in and kind of became your mentor a little bit, and it's sort of around there where we pick up, because essentially where we pick up for you is a couple months after the flashes in the night sky, and you have noticed that your mentor has become increasingly distracted of late. He's been locking himself in his room. He's been going away at a moment's notice and not telling you why. He's not said much to you about it. He's only said to you that the less you know, the better. If anything happens to him, you should not trust anyone. And he can only give you one word, and that word is Rustwater. About a 10-day ago, which is the Forgotten Realms equivalent for a week is like 10 days, you noticed that he had gone from being kind of distracted to outright distressed. And last night, there were some noises in his room that you've become increasingly worried about. This morning, you've kind of gone to his door and you've knocked, and there is no answer. What are you going to do?
I'm going to try to open the door.
Okay, yeah, this is the door you've been through many times. You open the door, and you find the body of your mentor laid out on the floor in front of his fireplace. There's clearly been a struggle in his office. The place appears to have been ransacked. He has obviously been killed. What are you going to do?
Well, Nevaeh's having, like, trouble breathing right now because she's just so shocked to find her mentor just dead on the floor when, like, just yesterday he was alive. But as she kind of starts to regain herself, she's just going to kind of rush over to his side and start, like, shaking his shoulder, hoping that he's just unconscious.
Right. As you're shaking his shoulder, he doesn't respond. He's clearly passed away. But as you're shaking his shoulder, sort of where he's been lying, kind of one of his hands has been sort of clutched across his chest. And as you move his body, his hand kind of comes free. It falls to the floor and it falls open. There is something in his hand, and you are able to pick it up and examine it. It is a necklace of some description, and I have sent you a picture of it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, as you pick this up out of his hand, you hear hurried footsteps from the door. And appearing at the door is someone you recognize from around the streets of Goodhearth. It's someone that you don't much like. It is a guy called Master Lemuel. Master Lemuel is not from your temple. He is from another temple, a temple to the god Tyr, who's the god of order. And he and his friends from the temple of Tyr call themselves the Hands of Tyr, and they are basically, they've set themselves up in Goodhearth as the law, essentially. And Master Lemuel does not like you. He has made this very clear in the past, and he appears at the door, and his first words are, "Tiefling, what have you done?"
I done? Why are you even here? You're not even from our temple. Like, do you know what happened here?
At this point, his eyes narrow, and Master Lemuel is a blue dragonborn, so his eyes do quite a good job of narrowing, and he says, "The Hands of Tyr go wherever order is needed, and clearly order is needed here."
Well, I still find it rather suspicious that you know that it's here when clearly it was needed earlier because, as you can see, my master is dead.
Master Lemuel takes his mace of office, which is sort of a little bit like two bars of metal kind of soldered across each other into an X that kind of widens out as it gets further from the handle. And he kind of taps it against his thigh, and he walks over to you. And he looks down at you as you're crouched next to the body, and he basically takes the mace and he presses it onto the tip of one of the horns on your head, so your head is forced to lean back to look at him, and says, "Even I do not think that you would have killed your master, but I find it suspicious that you were here, and perhaps you aided those who did. You may leave while I investigate the scene of the crime, but do not go far."
Neve is trying so hard to not do anything too rash. Because even though she's just so enraged, so full of grief, she's just like, no, I have to remember what my mentor has taught me, to just not act rashly, even if I want to pull out my hammer and beat this guy to a pulp.
Now, as you head for the door, Master Lemuel calls out to you. He says, "Tiefling, did your master tell you anything? Did he give you a name? Did he give you a place? I must know."
Well, how should I know? According to you, I should not have even been with him.
At which point he looks very displeased and he says, "Get out." Now, at this point...
I was leaving anyways.
At this point, you stagger outside, and a realization hits you that Gorion did give you the name of a place, and that you know that about 50 miles from Goodhearth there is a town called Rustwater, and it's at this point that you are in the market square, just outside the main door of your temple, and at this point you glance over to a notice board, and a notice board that you often kind of look at because you're kind of interested in what's going on around and about the town of Goodhearth and the city of Gurdorn. It's a place where people put adverts and put notices and that sort of thing. And you remember something. You remember something about Rustwater is on this board.
I'm gonna go over, kind of rush over and frantically search for what I remember being there.
Okay, right. Now, as you rush over to this board, you can't actually get fully in front of it because there is somebody stood in front of it. You can read on a piece of paper that has been tacked up to the board under the heading "Help Wanted." A sort of a scrawled note that says this. It says, "The citizens of Rustwater are beset by troubles. Since the lights in the sky, the woods grow dark and the mountain paths dangerous. I cannot promise riches, only the gratitude of a town sorely afflicted. What Rustwater needs now is those with a brave spirit to help them in their hour of need. Seek out Faradin the shopkeeper on your arrival." And at this point, I am going to pause Demea's adventure there. And I'm going to flick over to the dark and brooding chap who is brooding darkly next to her, who is also reading this sign. And that is Adrian Morningshade. So, Adrian, would you like to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Adrian Morningshade. I have a bit of a dark past that I am trying to make right of. There are people that I am after, that I must find, who I must kill to avenge my loved ones.
Absolutely. And Adrian at this point has been searching for many months with no luck. And he's also beginning to run short of money. And am I right in thinking, Adrian, that your quest to avenge these specific killers has kind of morphed a little bit into just a desire to avenge yourself against all monsters in the world?
Yes, it has.
And it also helped. Go on.
For their death, directly responsible. I hold them all accountable, and I will rid them of this world.
And while they are paying for that, it also does help that adventuring does rather pay the bills, as well as satisfy the thirst for vengeance. Now, you have taken to looking in increasingly isolated places for the subject of your vengeance, You find yourself in Gurdawn, and at the crossroads town of Goodhearth. You have asked around in the marketplace. You've been directed to the message board here, and you were just having a read of this sign, looking for anywhere that might be in need of help. And what do you find? But you find this message from the people of Rustwater, and as you're reading this and considering whether to do anything about it, a very distressed-looking tiefling appears at your elbow and is obviously reading the same piece of paper.
Bit rude to jump in front of someone.
Isn't it a bit rude to hog the sign?
Tieflings are all the same.
Sure you, dude.
Excuse me. Adrian reaches up to the board and yanks the post down to read. It begins to slowly walk away, reading the wanted.
The man's gonna reach out and like try to grab his shoulder or whatever. She can reach, try to pull him back. Like, hey, I was reading that.
As was I. And I do believe I was here first. You will wait your turn.
Time to wait. I need to read that.
Who are you?
It's none of your business. Just you could have left it on there, and we both could have read it. I just needed some space.
I'm you know what? I'm done reading this now. I am here. Adrian releases the paper to her, dropping it before it reaches her hand.
Mother son of a...
Aldous, Mackie, evolved. Thank you. Mackie, evolved. Aldous, Mackie. There you go.
Hey. I was caught up in the drama. I was listening to these two going on.
Yeah, please keep going. Sorry, we'll continue.
Are you happy now, dear? Are you happy? You have your post. You can read now.
No, I'm not freaking happy. Why would I be happy? You don't even know
Can
me.
tieflings even read? Can tieflings read? I heard you were lower people.
What kind of freaking jerk are you? You know nothing about me, dude. Like...
Oh, you won't... I know, you're right, I know nothing. You won't even give me your name.
No, because you're being a bit of an asshole, dude.
Fine. I've had a day. Maybe I overstepped.
You've had a day. I'm so terribly sorry. Did someone you love just freaking die?
Yes, actually.
Today?
Recently. That's why I'm here. I am looking for the ones responsible. If you must know.
Well, I can understand your pain. I kind of just stumbled in on the murder of my mentor.
I'm so very sorry.
So, I guess we both have reason to be a bit shitty to people, don't we?
The world has that effect on people.
And Demeo will kind of awkwardly extend her hand to introduce herself.
Adrian shakes it.
Now you know more about me than I know about you. I still don't know your name.
My name is Adrian Morningshade.
Morningstar?
Shade.
Shade.
Yeah, we were starting so well there to fix and mend, and it's morning shade. It's not all right. It's why do people always do this? Oh God.
I'm a little distressed.
This is why
I misheard.
Yeah. Oh well. Okay. Fine. Tell me of your master. How was he killed? Who killed him?
I don't know. This dickhead from another freaking temple who's a dickhead who hates tieflings because he's a dickhead came in and basically was like, I'm suspicious of why you're in your master's chamber. He kicked me out before I could find out anything.
What a cunt.
Yes. Yeah. He's a dick. God.
Do you believe it was anything of pure darkness, maybe, or any kind of a monster that took your master's life?
I don't know. I know he had been really distracted, and then the past few days he was really agitated and distressed, and like, I mean, normally he lets me in on things, but he was kind of keeping me like away at arm's length. And then he told me, if something happened to him, not to trust anyone.
What started him on that
town?
path? I just arrived.
Okay. Because now she's like, wait, he told me not to trust anyone. Should I trust you?
Well,
but yeah,
should I trust you?
I don't know.
Should anyone trust anyone? No.
Probably not. People are dicks. But no, he got distracted by those lights, those green lights that showed up in the sky.
The lights, you say? I've seen these lights. Strange things are brewing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing seems natural of those lights. Not for here. Not for this time.
But he said something about rust water, which is why I was so desperate to read this.
Fine. What is it that you seek from that? Maybe I can assist.
I don't know why he mentioned it, but I know it has to be important, so I need to find out why.
If it has anything to do with these mysterious lights, this dark feeling that I feel from them, then I am compelled to help you. Point in a direction. Where do we go now?
The rust water, which is.
And at that point, you would know that it is northeast. It's a couple of days journey northeast. So at that point, setting off together, we will leave Demea and Adrian on their journey, and we will cross over to Truly Jubilee. Truly, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Similar to Demea's character, living the life of a tiefling is not all that pleasant. She had a very rough childhood, lots of violence towards her for being what she is, lots of distrust. She was taken in by traveling caravan of dwarves, and particularly two dwarven parents that took her in and raised her on the road, but because of her presence caused them a lot of difficulties. And so she has decided to strike out on her own, to try and find her own way, and no longer cause her adoptive parents and family any more trouble in their life. They never made her feel like she was a problem, but she knew her presence made their life more difficult. So she's trying to find her own path, and so she's on the road doing just that.
Okay. And so what's happened is that kind of in an effort to get a little ways off the beaten path, sort of get as far away as possible from the normal trade routes that your family would have used, so you're going to be absolutely sure not to kind of damage their reputation, and because you had no intention of going back anywhere near Waterdeep where you grew up because it was not a good time. You've come away from the kind of busy coastal areas and the northern trade routes, to what you think might be a sort of slightly quieter region where you can sort of find yourself a little bit, look for a little bit of purpose. And you find yourself in the crossroad towns of Goodhearth, where you ask around a little bit about what work and the region in general, and you pick up some stories from the market, and that sort of thing. And again, you're directed over to a notice board where you find a slightly smudged notice, almost as if it's kind of been ripped off the board and dropped in the mud, and then perhaps picked up by somebody and pinned back up again. And you read about a town in trouble, and that town is Rustwater. You ask around in the market about it, and you hear that it is a very small, rural, out of the way sort of place. Why do you think that sort of thing would appeal to Truly?
Reading it, she's not super keen on helping those that have been cruel and distrusting to her, but she also needs money and to learn more about who she is. There's something inside of her that she doesn't quite understand, and she's going to try and go to a place that's off the beaten path, as you said, and so she's going to kind of approach that as a good way to start. A little bit more seclusion to give her space to try and discover herself and also earn her own future and financial. Yeah. Sure.
So you set off for Rustwater. It's about a 2-day journey out there. You make pretty good progress down the road. On the morning of the second day, you find yourself kind of initially you're sort of traveling through sort of isolated farms and that sort of thing, but the scenery becomes increasingly wild, and you get to a region kind of in the morning of the second day where patches of trees start to kind of dot the sides of the roads, and you're just kind of thinking to yourself that this has the potential to be a little bit dangerous, when within one of these patches of trees, you kind of hear the sounds, and you come around a bend to see a fight in progress. And what you see in front of you is a dwarf in a quite ornate looking armor, fighting with two humans who have the look of bandits about them. As you watch, he kind of turns his shoulder to take a hit from one of the humans on his armor, and in return strikes the other one with an enormous blow from his axe and puts him down. But the other bandit kind of rushes in, and the dwarf finds himself pinned on his back against a rock. And the human kind of has both hands on top of a knife and is pushing down, kind of spits into his face. "That armor's gonna be mine, fancy dwarf." What does Truly do?
She has a great fondness for dwarves, and seeing one being attacked by a human of of all races, she feels something really powerful inside her, and it's hatred and it's anger and it's all the things, and she thrusts her hand out and shoots a firebolt at the human, right in the center of its back, and just kind of like lets out a feral like scream when she does it.
Right. I'm going to say that the human is effectively prone and has his back to you, so you can roll the hit with this with advantage.
So this is the this is to see if it hits, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
With advantage. I rolled a 9 twice, but that's with +6, so that's 15.
Okay, that will hit, so you can roll for your damage.
That's 5.
That is enough, as this guy is kind of bruised from the fight, so he takes this enormous bolt of flame from in his back, and he kind of cries out and slumps heavily on top of the dwarf, thankfully losing grip of his knife as he does so. At this point, we turn to our fourth character, Grumbly Grabthar. Grumbly, would you like to just tell us a tiny little bit about your character?
Not much to say about Grumbly. He's grown up in a very wealthy family of dwarves that no longer lived underground. They bought a big manor house and kind of tried to live this sort of faux posh life, which explains why Grumbly's dressed up in this fancy armor. He kind of got a bit bored of this life and thought, my sort of dwarven DNA has taken me out there. I want a bit of adventure, so he crafts the finest weapons, the finest armor. Although finest doesn't always mean the best, and he's gone off on a little adventure with him on his own, and often finds himself out of his depth.
All right. So at this point, truly, you find yourself looking at this dwarf currently underneath a slumped over bandit. You appear to have saved the day. Grumbly, you find yourself trapped underneath a slumped over bandit, and find yourself kind of looking over his shoulder, which is kind of like pressed into your chin, at a tiefling woman, certainly a very young woman, who appears to be standing there with a distinctly kind of satisfied look on her face, I think, from what she's just done.
Truly,
what do you guys do?
Truly is going to walk over and not really want to lay hands on the human, but she's going to shove him off of Grumbly with her foot and just kick him off. And then she's going to hold out her hand to Grumbly, giving probably the warmest smile she's capable of giving.
Grumbly's going to accept that hand and grab it. That was mighty impressive there. Thank you very much. You saved my life.
Anything for a friend, and I'm always a friend to dwarves.
That's very kind.
My name's Truly. Truly Jubilee.
Hi. I'm Grumbly Grabthar. What brings you on this this sort of lonely road, as it were?
I'm heading to a place, Rustwater?
That's where I was heading. Do you fancy joining along? Could do with a little bit of help.
Absolutely.
These roads are dangerous.
Absolutely. I could always use a friend.
Me too. Let's go. Unless you want to loot these guys first. Of course.
She looks down in disgust at these guys, and they have nothing I want.
Grumbly has to look over them too and just sort of realizes why they jumped him, thinking he might have something on himself. And obviously his pockets at this point are empty. So he's like a little bit disappointed. But he doesn't want to show that he's poor. Just sort of dusts his armor off. Shall we go?
Let's do this. She's going to just have a very, she's comfortable in silence, but she's going to make polite conversation along the path. Just kind of sharing like little stories of stuff that she's seen along the road, and ask him some not too probing questions about who he is and his thoughts on things.
So tell me some more interesting facts about yourself. Where did you learn all these magical skills?
I've always had a talent, or really just something where I had this ability to cast, and I was able to hone what I do know through enormous amount of study. My parents would come across lots of books, and I had all the time in the world to practice by reading them, and I would stay at home while they went off to work a lot of the time, and I would just sit there and practice. I would read on all sorts of things. It's how I spent most of my childhood, the better parts of it, anyways.
It's something I envy. I just have to swing around my giant weapon.
That is an impressive weapon you have there. It is quite large.
Thank you. Yes, it is. Crafted by the finest people from my town.
Where is that?
It's way over there somewhere.
I hear ya. I'm from all over, really, as my parents are traveling merchants.
Seeing a lot of the world then.
I wish I'd seen more. I mostly stayed. Every time I tried to help them and explore the town, it always resulted in people accusing my parents of some sort of wrongdoing because they saw me there. And, you see tiefling and you immediately go to all the worst conclusions. So they would think that my parents were trying to rip them off. So it got to a point where it was just easier for me to stay in the caravan, and trying to just learn what I can from the stuff that they would get before selling it themselves.
Well, I think you're mighty impressive, Tiefling. I think this could be the start of a wonderful friendship.
She's going to give a very big smile. Sorry.
As we get into this, I'm pretty sure we'll get up to some fantastic adventures.
Should be interesting. I want to earn my own way. I want to make my family proud. I want to do good, but at the same time, I don't particularly care for people. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'm going to learn as I go, and it would be nice to have a friend along the way.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so you guys make pretty good time along your second day, and actually find that the road goes easy, and with the company being pleasant, you actually find that the miles fly by. Your kind of pace quickens as you kind of chat with each other. The stories become kind of ever more entertaining, and you find yourself kind of gabbling like old friends as you after only a few hours. As you kind of draw nearer, or just past the middle of the day, you actually find yourself approaching Rustwater. The road has proved a little shorter than expected, and as you kind of approach the town, you see that this is not a bustling metropolis. This is not a huge and impressive city. This is a small town. If town would probably be a generous word. What you can kind of see from afar is that there appear to be sort of 4 or 5 slightly larger buildings, essentially surrounded by a small collection of thatched huts, essentially. Various kind of sort of little gardens, kind of turned over to agriculture, mark out kind of like various plots of land. So the whole thing feels fairly spread out. As you kind of follow the road and draw a little bit closer to Rustwater, the land on your left starts to rise in like a little bit of a bluff, sort of about 10-15 foot high on your left. The wilderness sort of gradually gradually kind of fades out into slightly more kind of cultivated fields, and you find yourself essentially walking with like a rise of land on your left, and eventually with some fruit orchards on the right hand side, where the trees look kind of heavy with fruit and very inviting. And just up the top of your of the rise, just before the road kind of takes a turn around a corner, a quite impressive, sort of hefty looking stone building of a couple of floors with a slate roof sits behind a dry stone wall, and on your right there's a farmhouse. The road obviously kind of goes around a corner, and into the town proper. Out the front of the farmhouse, there's a female halfling kind of resting on top of a stool with her feet up in front of her, on a second stool. And basically kind of with a large bucket of apples on one side, and another one on the right hand side, and she's picking the ones out from the bucket on the left, kind of inspecting them, and she'll occasionally drop one into a bucket, and she'll occasionally look at one, and then just basically start eating it before going back and looking for another one to drop into the bucket on her right hand side. Obviously the road continues around past her farm, further into Rustwater. What would you guys like to do?
Just look over at Truly and shrug my shoulders.
This certainly is a place. she's not like super like turned off by it being a small town or anything, but she's just like, what can we even do here? She's gonna turn to Grumbly and just be like, maybe let's go find a bar and ask around. Let's maybe get something to eat on me.
That sounds pretty good. Lead the way.
They're gonna try and locate some place that looks like will serve food to travelers and maybe get a feel for conversation about what's needed there.
All right, you kind of head down the road. As you pass the farmhouse, the halfling kind of gives you a little bit of a wave and calls out a cheery morning. As you kind of get near the corner of the road, you can see there's a quite an impressive 2-story stone house in front of you, but you're looking at the side of it. So obviously the front of it kind of faces a different way. The road kind of takes you around a corner. You pass another couple of sort of thatched huts that obviously look like, poor farmers or labourers' cottages. But shortly after that, you find yourself walking down the back of a building that has the look of a tavern. It is obviously like a sort of stone built building along the bottom floor, but then it's kind of timber and plaster on the second floor. Has 2 peaked roofs, so it sort of looks like the roof looks a bit like an M shape. But you're very much clearly walking around the back of it. There is a little sign on the back door that says patrons entrance in the main square. You can also see like a little alleyway that leads down the sort of the far side of it, so you have to apparently walk around it to get to the front door.
Truly is going to just kind of give a giggle to seeing the sign and look at Grumbly. How many times do you think people have tried to enter through this door that they felt they needed to put up a sign at this point?
I'm thinking everybody that came here, especially if they're lazy like me.
I was going to say, do you want to enter it anyways and just just for shits and giggles?
Oh, hells yeah. Let's go.
They're gonna go through that door.
Okay, so you guys enter through the back entrance. You find yourself in a modest inn. There appear to be 2 common rooms in this inn, and they are broken up by like a central bar, which is sort of double-sided. Behind the bar, there is a very large, stocky man, kind of absent-mindedly rubbing a tankard with a cloth. A couple of slightly bored-looking barmaids sitting at a corner table, while another one sort of bustles round, making sure everything is clean. There don't appear to be any other patrons in there. As you open the door, a small bell kind of jangles above it, and the stocky man kind of looks up with a grumpy expression on his face and goes, "Every time. Should really move the sign to the other side of the pub. Welcome, travellers. What can I get for you?"
Hello, good man. Let's get some ales and perhaps a menu.
Should we seat ourselves?
City folk, I see.
Are you going to guide us to a table, or?
Yes. No. No, please, seat yourself. I'm pretty sure all the other customers won't mind, after all.
She's just gonna, like, kind of get this, like, okay look and just walk over to a table that's the largest one in the entire place so that she can take up. So if there is anybody else that comes in as a group, they have to sit at a smaller table.
Grumbly sits down and man spreads.
At which point the one of the bored-looking barmaids gets up. She comes over. She is she sort of sachets over slightly. The movement kind of accentuated by the fact that she has a tail, on account of she is a golden-skinned dragonborn, and she comes over to your table and glances at Grumbly and says, "Welcome, travellers. My name is Nasine. Making ourselves at home, I see, which is what we like from our customers. Is there anything I can get you?" Glances again at Grumbly. "More space, perhaps?"
Well, I did ask for a menu. Do you not have a food menu? We're starving.
Starving, eh? Well, we can offer you the house special, or well, no, that's pretty much it.
That's disappointing. And what is the house special?
The house special is one of Master Eastmarch's famous trenchers.
Trenchers?
What's that?
They don't have trenches where you're from. City folk, I see. A trencher is essentially it's like a hollowed out loaf of bread, which we fill with vegetable stew. It's very good.
I suppose.
Why not?
Yeah, that sounds good. Two,
We'll
and
take two.
with the ales.
Ales is it? Very good, very good. And she sort of bustles away, goes off and talks to the guy at the bar, who kind of bustles about behind the bar, and you see him kind of do the sort of classic kind of moving down a set of steps. So there's obviously a trapdoor behind the bar. Goes and rummages about a little bit down there. Reappears a little while later. With a large tray. It has 2 big flagons of ale on it. It has a couple of plates, which basically have these big, enormous kind of house specialty trenchers on, and he kind of ushers it over to your table, sets it down, and he basically says. He says, "Righto." Again, in his slightly grumbly and brusque voice, "Maybe 5 silver."
Awkward. You got any silver on you?
Truly's going to kind of squint at and say to the waiter and say, "How about 3 silver?"
You roll persuasion for me.
Yes. $19.
Yeah. At which point you see him kind of glance around to his empty pub, and he sort of huffs and he says, "Take what I can get, I suppose. Done." And holds his hand out.
Okay, so she'll hand over 3 silver.
Okay, that's fine. You notice as you get a better look at his hand as he holds it out, and Grumbly, as you kind of get a better look at his kind of jawline as he huffs at you, that this guy and his grumpy disposition are perhaps slightly explained by the fact you don't know whether he's a half orc, but he's definitely got some orc in his bloodline somewhere, so that might explain a little bit of his lack of social graces, shall we say. And he takes the 3 silver and he kind of stumps off back to the bar.
Let's tuck in, I guess. This looks appetizing.
Well, the ale is a little bit of piss water, but you know, at least we can quench our thirst. I don't know. Maybe we should have asked him if there was anything going on in this place that they need help with.
Sure, let's see. Barman, one moment of your time.
She's gonna chuckle and just kind of do the lean forward and laugh a little bit.
At which point, the barman kind of looks over at you and he kind of sort of huffs in a sort of slightly half annoyed, half amused sort of way at you kind of clicking his fingers at him, and he very pointedly turns around and finds another tankard to polish.
Truly is going to do the slow stand, because she does not really particularly like to do the whole interaction thing with other people, especially if they're not dwarves. But she's going to walk over to him and then just kind of like lean over and make like the intense eye contact until he like looks over at her too, like hello. But she's not going to say anything.
So you're at the bar currently staring at the back of his head, while he's very pointedly polishing a tankard and looking in the other direction. Mm-hmm. At which point Nasine, your waitress from earlier, kind of bustles over, and she says, "Oh, now don't you mind Master Eastmarch. He gets a little bit grumpy when the mining shifts out of town. He doesn't make that much coin. Now you've got your food and you've got your drink. Is there anything I can help with at all?"
Truly's still at the bar trying to get this guy's attention by staring at him, so she's just talking to Grumbly at this point, yes.
I was just looking for some work in this town. You know,
work?
Bit of extra coin, you know. Something needs smashing, setting on fire. She's very good at setting things on fire.
The barmaid kind of glances round at the amount of wooden furniture there currently is in this pub when you say that, and looks a little bit uncomfortable, and she says, "Well, I don't know about anything needing smashing or setting on fire. The town master keeps saying to us that the marshal will take care of everything after all, but I do know that Mr. Faradin said something about sending for help. I think he said something about Goodhalf, but that was weeks ago now."
Truly is walking over and sits down and looks over at Grumbly, not really acknowledging her, and goes, "That guy's a dick," and just sits down, just like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you guys talking?"
No. Nothing up to me. Nothing much. So this place, where can we find it?
You mean Faradin? You can find him over at Faradin's Emporium. It's just the other side of the square. Out the entrance, you. Oh no, you didn't come in that way, did you? Out the entrance, you didn't come in, and you'll find yourself in the main square. Just straight across the main square, you'll see a big shop. He's normally stood outside. Lots of things on tables outside. Lots of things on tables inside. In fact, and I'm sure you'll be able to speak with him there.
So Grumbly looks over at the food that Truly's left and goes, "Are you going to be eating that, or can I just polish that off?"
She's gonna take 3 more big bites and then push the plate over to Grumbly. There you go, buddy. Then she's going to finish off the piss water / ale.
Grumbly polishes off the rest of the food, wipes it out of his beard, takes his tankard as the final mouthful. To the square.
Let's do it. And they're gonna walk out their back entrance. And then go around.
Okay. So, having entered through the back entrance, you now extricate yourself from the bar through the same means, and move yourself around the side of the bar. At which point you find yourselves in a sizable town square. There is a slightly jolly-looking stone well in the centre of it. Off to your right is the imposing-looking 2-story house that you saw from the road, behind a high hedgerow, and with an impressive-looking gate out the front of it. Off to your left, and rather incongruously for the middle of the town, is a grove of trees. There are then a couple of smaller shops across the way from you, and a distinctly larger looking shop just across the square.
I think it's really strange how they have this really impressive looking house here for this guy, but everything else is just kind of like shit.
It's clearly where the money is. I think we need to go tap this guy up and see what he's got in there.
That sounds like a good idea. Let's go see what this guy has in store, and maybe we can get some easy jobs out of him.
So you're gonna approach? Are you approaching the shop then?
The big.
Or are you approaching the big house?
The big house, yeah.
Okay. You approach the big house. On the gate, there is a clear sign saying Barden Merryweather accept no callers, salesmen, nor hawkers without appointment.
Hawkers? Who does he think we are? We're seasoned adventurers.
She's gonna like do the. She's gonna kind of get the side smile and go, "You think there's a back door?"
Oh, that's so tempting to smash in the back door. Oh, what shall we do?
I feel like maybe we might get arrested this time, though.
Maybe.
Let's go to the shop close by, and then feel out what to do from there, and then if we're still feeling like bored, we could always go through the back door.
I completely agree. Let's go.
Okay. So while you guys are deciding whether you're bored enough to go through the back door, you decide to go to the store and get a feel of things. Mm-hmm. And as you approach the store, you see that there is a sort of porch front to this store, with some tables with kind of various kind of trays of like fresh fruit and farm produce and that sort of things laid out. There is a slightly nervous looking human man in here who looks to be in sort of his mid-30s, stood on the porch, and as you approach you notice that he is already dealing with a couple of customers, or at least talking to a couple of people. One of whom is a light purple skinned tiefling with purple hair, and the other is a slightly dark and brooding looking man who is sort of stood slightly behind her. They are obviously just starting up a conversation as you guys reach the porch. And you hear the shopkeeper essentially saying to them, "Welcome to Faradin's Emporium. What can I do for you, fine gentleman and lady?"
Truly is going to be a little bit taken aback at seeing another tiefling because she hasn't seen one since her childhood and time living on the streets. So she's just kind of be a little bit shocked, and just kind of nervously look over at Grumbly, hoping that he'll do all the talking.
And Grumbly's already eyeing up the rather tall and handsome fella, and sort of looking him up and down, going, "Some fancy clothes. Maybe he's got some money on him."
You think he's the one that we need to talk to?
At which point, Demaya and Adrian, you have arrived in Rustwater, and you have successfully located Faradin the shopkeeper. You have just arrived to introduce yourself, when from a different corner of the square, because they were overlooking at the large fancy house, appear another tiefling and a fancy-looking dwarf, who approach. The tiefling looks a little bit unsettled. The dwarf appears to be taking a somewhat unseemly interest in the cut of Adrian's clothes. At which point, I leave it up to you guys to introduce yourselves and take it from here.
So, hi, what brings you fine people to this backwater town?
We're looking for information.
And Demea's kind of just staring at Truly like, another tiefling?
We're both just like eyeing each other, like not saying anything. Like,
you're like,
you're purple too.
Adrian leans
Horns?
over to Demea. There's many of you around.
no, like, I've never seen another tiefling in my life.
What do you know of your people? Are they trustworthy?
Does Truly hear him say this? Does Truly hear him say this?
Adrian, are you saying this is a quiet aside to Demaya, or are you Demaya, or are you saying this
to her ear, just kind of leaning over, saying it to her.
Okay.
He's gonna like talk quietly back and be like, "Well, is everyone of your kind trustworthy? Like, you don't have to suspect everyone and everything." Oh God, what am I saying? I suspect everyone and everything.
Nah, see, you get my point. I trust you because I've been on the road with you. And even then, I still am not sure. I
love how you're saying this to her. Like, I don't really even know you, so I don't trust. Truly is just gonna say this. She's gonna like, she didn't notice Adrian before, but like as soon as he starts doing the lean over and whisper thing while looking over at Truly, she just starts glaring at him, like just nasty glare.
Do you have a blinking problem?
Excuse me?
A blinking problem. Do you not blink?
I blink. Who are you even?
He's rude.
Clearly.
He does this.
He has no manners whatsoever. Did he not have a mother and a father to teach
I
him?
don't have time for manners.
Are you in a
I have
hurry
many
that you
things
can't
I need to
even
tend to.
say who you are before asking me if I have a blinking problem?
Well, I'm not the one who walked up on us.
I walked
We
into
were
a
here talking to
store.
this fine gentleman of
Do
this
you own this
establishment.
store?
No, I don't.
Just calm down, people. Let's have some manners. Hi,
She's gonna just
I'm
cross her
Grumbly
arms
Grabthar.
and look away.
I'm Grumbly Grabthar, and this is my travelling companion, Truly. And put my hand out to shake Adrian's hand.
And she's going to look over at Grumbly doing that and walk around him, and she's gonna politely offer her hand to Demaya. My name's Truly. Nice to meet you.
Demaya's a little hesitant, but she's still taken aback that there's an actual tiefling in front of her, that she is going to take her hand and be like, Demaya.
Yeah, they're both kind of woodenly shaking each other's hands because even though she's trying to be sassy right now, she's also kind of weirded out by this situation.
Adrian kind of leans down onto one knee to shake Grumbly's hand.
And Truly's gonna like pull her hand back from this, look over at Adrian doing this, still not fully hearing the name, and she's gonna look back at Demaya, and say, "What? What?"
I mean, the
He
first
was
thing
polite.
he asked me basically was whether or not I was evil, so he does this.
Oh, he's one of those.
Excuse me, but don't you think that's a little discriminatory?
Excuse me, you think that was discriminatory?
A bit.
For when
A
I
bit.
say one of those, I mean one of those people who hold an entire race against an individual. And all of their race's history.
I just asked you to blink because you're staring a hole into my soul.
You asked her if she was evil when you first met?
No, I first said she was rude.
Like you were? Just now? So that must mean you're evil, right?
I've had my moments.
She's gonna give you the eye. What's your name even?
My name is Adrian Morningshade.
Alright, Morningstar, whatever. My name's Truly.
God, this again. All you tieflings do this. What do you have hard of hearing? Or is it a
I'm sorry, sir. Did you just say all you tieflings?
He did it to me
Yeah,
the other
he
day.
asked if I could even
feel as
read
if like
when I
maybe
first met him.
your hearing
He
isn't
asked
quite
you if you
well.
could read. Why are you traveling with this douchebag? Should I light him on
We have
fire?
to be going this-
Whoa,
Adrian
whoa,
looked over
whoa.
to Grumbly. Why are you traveling with her? This being here? Why? She clearly you are a man of class.
At which point the slightly bewildered-looking man in his 30s who stood next to you says, "I would really prefer it if nobody lit anything on fire on the front of my strop."
Fair enough, sir.
I assure you,
I have no
there'll
intention of lighting anything on fire.
be no fighting, sir. No fighting, sir. Just minor squabbles, New adventurers meeting each other. I'm sure we can resolve this.
Clearly, he's the reasonable one of the duo.
You know what? Maybe you just shouldn't talk. And let your better half speak for you. She's gonna look over at
Fine.
Demaya and go, "So, what brings you here again?"
Reasons. I needed to be in Restwater, so I'm finding out what's here for me.
I can understand that. I'm trying to find my way, and I found a really great and impressive man along the way to be a friend and companion along the journey. I'm so sorry you didn't find one yourself. So we should probably figure out what this town needs. She's just gonna ignore her.
Well, we were talking to this gentleman over here because he posted
We were
this sign,
posted.
so we're hoping to learn what he's needing.
Would you guys mind if we had a listen? Because we're kind of looking for a bit of coin ourselves.
I don't mind if you
Shrugged, like,
listen.
That's a mighty fine robe, by
You.
the way, sir. It's old craft, is that? Very nice. Very nice cut.
Yes, I took it from a person who wasn't the most polite people. He no longer needed it.
Oh. Okay. Grumbly sort of shuffles and sort of hides a few of his gold chains that he's got hanging off his armor and sort of shuffles away from Matrion.
Okay. So at which point, the guy you've come here to meet, a guy called Faradin, who is like I say, a human male in his mid-30s, who owns the shop. He kind of nervously steps forward and says, "Now, I didn't quite follow all of that because there were a lot of threats, but I think it sounded like you're all here because of my message I sent to Goodhearth. Is that right?"
Were you the one that made that post?
Yes,
call for help?
I was. I wasn't supposed to, but I felt like I had to with everything that's been going on.
What's been going on?
I feel like this is where we actually need to be.
Well, ever since the lights in the sky, things just seem to have been going wrong around here. There've been people go missing. The woods seem to be more dangerous than they were before. And the town master keeps telling us that there's nothing to worry about, that everything will sort itself out. That the Knights of Gerdorn will come and help us, but it's been weeks now, and nobody's come. The marshal went to get help a long time ago, but he hasn't come back either, so we don't even have him. So his residence has been standing empty for a long while now. I didn't know what else to do. I had to help the town. I had to help my customers and my business partners and all my people. I needed to do something. The only thing I could think of was to put up a notice in Goodhearth and hope some people might come along who might be able to help us out. But the town master was angry with me.
There's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Well, that's what I said, but he said it would spoil the reputation of the company or something like that. I don't know. I don't have much to do with the iron mine, of course, but there you are.
So what would you have us do?
Well, there's been a lot of different things, of course, have happened over the course of the last few weeks, but the thing that's worrying me the most at the moment is that my shop is starting to run low of things. Now that probably doesn't sound very urgent, but you have to understand that everybody around here relies on everybody else, and the deliveries usually come in like clockwork. Because after all, if you don't come into town to deliver the things that you normally sell, then you don't then get your own supplies, and you run short, and your family suffers. Everybody's very prompt with their deliveries. Everybody's always very.
Alana's gonna hold up her hand and just be like, "We will help you. What is it that you need?"
Right, of course. Two of my suppliers, two of my regular business partners, were meant to make deliveries this week. Neither of them has appeared. There's Bartholomew, the woodcutter and Grallen, who runs the sheep farm. I was supposed to get a stock of firewood in this week to sell to the townsfolk, and also a stock of wool, which I sell to everybody so that they can do all of their spinning and their mending and so on and so forth. It's Grallen who I'm most worried about. He's the most overdue, of course. But if you could go to either of their farms and check on them, then I'd be most grateful.
That sounds like a plan. Point the way. Do you have a map? Or just a general direction to send us?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a map, but I will draw one for you. While you're away, if you'd like to go and help Grallen first, like I say, he's the one I'm most worried about. Then you need to head north out of town. Just go back out onto the main road down the side of the Broken Ingot over there, the tavern, and head towards the river. But before you get to the bridge, to take the north road, and you'll and once you're about 2-3 miles down the road, before just near the edge of the Meadwood, you'll find Grallen's farm.
Oh, let's go. Are you guys going to tag along? Is this part of your entertainment?
Truly's going to
Seems
lean forward and sir, I don't want to make it weird, but what's this gonna pay?
Well, I'm sure that I'm only a simple local businessman, you understand, but I'm sure I could find some coins down the backs of furniture and things. Should we say 10 gold for each of you?
Deal. She just jumps in. She gets really excited over this.
well, I guess I can live with that.
Well, I'll take what I can get. Sounds good.
I don't really care about the money, so sure.
Okay.
So
So
I think this is where we're kind of looking at each other. We're doing this together then, and she's gonna give a quick glare over to Adrian.
Always with the staring. I guess we are. I still have not caught your name. I know his name, Grumbly. I know her name, Demea. I've traveled with her. You still have not told me your name. You know my name.
It's funny because I did tell you my name. I just didn't give you my last name. My name's Truly. So delightful to meet you, Morningstar.
Again, it's morning shade.
Morning Wade?
I feel like you're just patronizing me now.
She's gonna give this really devious smile. And be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is gonna be one hell of an adventure. I can already tell them.
It's always fun to be around tieflings, mate.
She's going to turn out and kind of do the
You travel with her.
slap on.
She can't possibly be that bad.
She's gonna walk out the door and just kind of do the on Grumbly's arm, just like, all right, let's go.
Okay, so at which point you guys head for the outskirts of town, and in the direction that you've been pointed. I'm gonna say we're taking like a quick 1-minute break there. I'll be back in just a moment. Is that all right?
Yes, go for it.
All right.
So, it's totally a thing. It's totally a thing.
I'm also going to take a comfort break. Back in a sec.
Go for it. I might need to go.
Hey, Mal, I'm still listening, but yeah, God damn it, I should have should have knew. I should have known.
I mean, it was all through the planning process where you were like, it's morning shade. I was like, okay, so morning star and da da da, like, how are we gonna do the introductions? Yeah, that was throughout the whole planning process, and it's just too good not to.
Yeah, we like it. I'm so happy that there was an option to do it naturally.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really
I'm sorry, Morningstar.
I'm really enjoying the fact that both of us just absolutely did not get on on the right foot with him at all.
Well, I mean, he started out with some prejudice. Like,
Right.
it was rude.
Yeah, and condescending, and yeah, like, can you even read? You know, like, so.
Right? My character was like, I am this close from pulling out my hammer and beating the next person who pisses me.
You're like, hold on, let me just electrocute the shit out of you real quick. Let me bring out Thor's hammer.
Actually, I'm definitely gonna go get another beer. I feel like I'm going to need it.
Oh, I don't want to leave Aqua here by herself, and I have to pee.
That's okay, I've been looking for an opportunity to get something too.
Alrighty. Oh, perfect. You go ahead and take over, Aldous. We're gonna go pee.
All right.
And at that point, everybody runs away. So I hope everyone's enjoying it. We have a beautiful selection of chairs for you to look at right now at this point.
Well, the back of one, anyway.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, well, see, this is the thing. Not only do we provide chairs, but we provide all different angles of chairs.
Correct, yeah.
You see, I mean, that's
ventilation
like...
is for comfort, you know?
Yeah, see, that's full customer service right there of... Oh, dear.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, you know? That's right. Many people in fantasy worlds
yeah,
can't
absolutely.
read.
This is what it's become. It's become a chair auction stream. That basically right now. That's what's happened. So yes, for just 5 monthly payments of $19.99, you too can possess the Aqua Chair 3000.
It's all about the Aqua Chair 3000.
Every time you sit down in it, it snorts.
Yes, when you're when you're tired of a long day of going into the wrong entrance, then you too can rest in comfort in the Aqua Chair 3000.
Is it sploosh proof?
No.
Then I want nothing to do with
We
it.
do have this rusty chair over here.
That's why Penny doesn't have one. Oh dear. So, I'm just seeing if I can do something here.
What are you doing? Okay. Back in.
Morningwood?
Alright, that might have worked. It might not have worked. Let's see what happens. I think it might have worked. Yes, it has. Okay, you guys should all have a little... Having walked through Rustwater once, I'm going to say you have a decent idea of the layout, because it's not that big. So I have sent you all a small map of the town that you can have a look at. And hopefully you might be able to figure out where you've been already. You guys head across the main square and you kind of walk down the side of the bar. You head for the river, and just before the bridge, you turn right and head up the north road. You walk up that way through past sort of a couple of isolated farms, and you find yourself kind of approaching a forested area. But before you get there, you find yourself approaching a farmhouse with some sort of pastured areas fenced off right on the edge of the forest. As you kind of near the farmhouse, you see an older human man in sort of his 50s, kind of fussing about the farmyard with a dog, obviously kind of attempting to kind of put like a sort of rope lead over its neck, and kind of muttering in a sort of distracted and upset sort of way. You look around a little bit. There are some small farm buildings clustered around a sort of neatly kept farmyard. You've got a sort of the main farmhouse with a thatched roof, which and this sort of this black and white sheepdog, which appears to be having none of the idea of having a lead put on it. This tall man wearing a sort of floppy hat and simple work clothes. He sort of looks up as he sees you approach him, and he kind of rises up to his feet, and he says, "Welcome, travellers. Don't get many people this far up the North Road. What can I do for you?"
We're here looking for information. We're just 4 people wandering the wilds, just trying to make a difference. Perhaps you'd like to hear from our mouthy friend over here a little more. Truly.
She's just gonna sneer over at Adrian. No, you're doing such a good job yourself.
Right. No, I insist.
So let me get this straight. 4 heavily armed people who don't like each other have come to my farm because you're all so helpful.
Do you want
I don't
help?
know about these lot. I'm helpful. I heard there was some good coin to be made down this way.
Coin, don't have lots of them. Got lots of sheep. Less sheep than I'd like, though. Of course, that's why I haven't, been doing very much of my normal work this week.
So yeah, the shopkeeper Faradin sent us because he was worried.
You're from Faradin. Oh, well, welcome. Friend of Faradin's friend of mine. That's what I say. I do like Faradin. He's such a nice fellow. He's always got the town's best interest at heart. But so he sent you. He's worried about me, is he? Oh, that's so sweet. No. I've been very busy lately. Something took down the fence at the back of my central field, and some of my sheep have gone. I've tried looking for them, but I don't know the woods very well, and they seem a little bit more dangerous and frightening lately. I was trying to put a lead on old Toby here so he could follow the scent, but he's a bit of a free spirit, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Grallen.
Grallen. Nice to meet you, Grallen.
So, you need help finding your sheep, if I have this correct?
Yeah, you know what sheep are like. You give them a chance to get out of their field and they run amok as soon as anybody looks at them. So I'm afraid quite a few of them have got out. If you could go in and have a little search around the woods, a lot of the paths are quite easy to follow. Yes, so I'd be ever so grateful. The last count, it was 10 that were missing, and if you can return as many of them as you can to me, then certainly I'd see my way clear to. Well, there's not a lot of money in wool round here, of course, but I'm sure I can find something for you.
Does your dog not herd the sheep? Or keep tabs on them, keep track of them? Is he not trained to do so, or she?
I mean, he is. Toby here is a very good sheep herder, but you've got to understand that he's used to working in fields. He doesn't like the forest any more than I do.
All I know is that sheep is good. Can we have one of the sheep to eat?
No, I am asking you to bring them back alive.
Fine.
Is there any particular thing that you would recommend for us to gather the sheep, or are they going to come willingly? Do we have to carry them back?
I mean, they're used to dealing with me. I mean, they're animals. If you treat them calmly and look after them, then they shouldn't do anything particularly silly. But I mean, they are animals after all. I can't guarantee that they're going to calmly have a conversation with you.
Okay. I think we could probably manage sheep. We're capable adults, most of us.
I believe we definitely can. Some of us.
This isn't an epic adventure. This is sheep wrangling. Ugh.
We have.
Demea doesn't say this out loud, but she's like, "What the, like, why the frig did my master send me to this town? I don't get it."
Grelin, do you think maybe bandits stole your sheep, or have been stealing your sheep at night, or?
Well, something took down the fence at the back of the field, and I can't say what it was. I mean, I'm no tracker, and I haven't been that far into the woods to check, so I really couldn't say.
What about strange sounds, like any kind of creatures, or any? Have you heard anything of the such?
Anything that did this was stealthy enough to. I mean, you got to understand they didn't smash the fence to pieces. They took it apart. So you know, it's just a wood log rail fence. Then they dismantled it. So it was clever, whatever it was.
Let's
Sounds
just
intriguing.
point us in the general direction, and let's get this done so we can get our gold and maybe keep doing what we need to do.
Of course, my lovely. And he leads you around the back of his farmhouse, where you find a relatively substantial field, which he sort of walks you across, and sort of midway along the rear fence of this field, just a few feet away from the tree line of the forest, there's a neat sort of log split rail fence, and it has very clearly had sort of three, of the rails taken out of it at one place to leave sort of about a 7-8 foot gap in this fence. Just on the other side of that, there appears to be sort of a little pathway leading off into the forest. And Grannon kind of stops you there, and he says, of course, he says there are pathways in the forest. He says people go in there to forage, and there's game trails and things. So you shouldn't find any difficulty finding your way through the forest. And the sheep probably will have followed the easy paths rather than run off into the undergrowth. If I were you, I'd start there and see how you get on.
Should we split up, or should we go together? In pairs? Should we pair off? Grumbly?
I don't know. This sounds like it should be a fun adventure. Maybe it'd be nice to get to know these guys.
And we don't know what could be in the woods, so...
Maybe, yeah, let's stick together then. We don't know this area well enough. We could be surprised.
Grumbly leans into Truly, and then we can keep an eye on them and make sure they don't get all the glory.
Adrian looks the sort, honestly. Have you seen his robes? He's so full of himself.
He looks very brooding.
Yeah. Just like, look at my robes.
I can hear you.
She's gonna be like, so?
Okay, so if you guys are heading up the path, what order are you going to travel in?
Truly is gonna just kind of start moving forward, so I think Truly will try and go first.
Okay.
I guess I'll go second.
Ew.
Okay.
So I can keep a close eye on this one.
Aqua will go behind, or Demea will go behind Adrian, going, "Oh God, here he goes."
And I'll take up the rear.
Okay.
Backdoor mucky.
So, you guys find yourself traveling down a sort of a reasonably well-worn forest path. There's sort of trees and bushes and things, concealing sort of fairly dense undergrowth on either side of the path. But as you kind of make your way down this path, you you can see pretty obviously like the tracks of sort of like little cloven hooves and things, little feet of animals essentially having trodden through the ground here. After you've gone about 40 feet or so back into the forest, you find yourself in emerging into a clearing. It's full of kind of dappled light. There's a bit less bird song in this forest and a fewer animal sounds than you might have expected for quite dense woods. But as you emerge into this clearing, you see across the way that there are 3 sheep kind of grazing contentedly on the undergrowth in this clearing. They sort of glance up as you emerge into the clearing, but they don't seem frightened, and therefore they kind of don't move away from you. You also notice that there are 2 other kind of 2 other paths that lead out of this clearing. There's one off to your left, and there's one off to your right. What would you guys like to do?
Truly is going to kind of look back over at Adrian and be like, I guess you probably want the easier choice and just go for the ones that you can actually see. I'm going to keep looking for one that I can't see. I'm going to go find the ones that are missing.
Do you guys not have like a sense of magic to find these things?
Sheep aren't magic.
Yeah.
Are they?
You must have a spell that can find them. This is so boring. Herding sheep.
You not feel as if the forest is always watching you? It's so quiet.
I lean into Truly again. My God, this guy's really, really brooding.
Honestly, it kind of comes off as whining to me.
Really? I think it's
not seen the horrors that I have seen.
That's so brooding. She's gonna laugh. She's gonna laugh and go, "Oh my God, he is such a brooder." And she's gonna head off in some other direction where the 3 sheep are not so she can keep looking for the ones that haven't been found yet.
Are you walking aimlessly? Are you going to the left or to the right? Are you walking aimlessly? Or are you walking to the left or to the right?
I'll go left.
Grumbly's gonna like get his little legs going and run straight after her, chasing her tail.
It's like we have sheep right here that might not be here when we get back, but I did say we should maybe stick together, so I'm gonna go follow those 2.
Okay.
Damn it! I mean, if we're all going that way, I might as well go as well.
All right. So you follow the left-hand path. You find it kind of takes a sort of curving course. As you go to the left, you find yourself through the left-hand path. You kind of find yourself bearing increasingly left, and then suddenly straight ahead. And after a little while, you kind of emerge from a break in the tree line, and you find yourself emerging basically out into another one of Grallen's fields, about 60, 70 feet from where you started.
And do we see anything?
You see some fields and some sheep that are clearly not lost because they're in the fields.
Shall we go back the other way? Because this is just fields.
All right, we should just go get the sheep that were there. We could go get those first and take those back, and then come back to get the rest. So
This evening, Shade. This evening, Shade guy, he's got some muscles. He can carry at least 2 sheep.
I mean, if you say so. You look way stronger than this guy.
Most of it's just padding, but it's okay. It's okay. We can go.
Okay, so you make your way back to the original clearing that you found yourself in. The 3 sheep are still there, kind of munching contentedly on the grass that's there. What are you gonna do?
Truly is going to approach one of them very slowly, and just kind of sit in front of it with her hand out to see if it will approach her in a friendly way. Crouch, okay. I should say.
Make an animal handling check for me, please.
That's a nat 20 with a -1. But it's a nat 20.
It makes its way straight over to you. It kind of nuzzles into your hand, and appears for all the world to consider you the most friendliest sheep friend that ever was friends with a sheep.
I'm going to scratch it behind the ears, and then slowly stand up and just try and gently guide it over into the direction of where the farm is, and leave my friends behind.
Okay, it appears to be quite happy to go along with you, and with the power of the nat 20 behind you, the other 2 seem to think that this is a great idea as well and start to follow you along the path.
Nice. Just like no. So
that's exactly in Grumbly's head is some sort of weird tune, thinking this is just bizarre.
Okay, you guys are easily able to lead them back down the path to the field. There's a gate which you can easily let them through into one of the fields that has not had its fence dismantled, and so you are able to do that without any bother.
Sheep like me, I guess. These sheep, anyways. She's.
At least someone does.
She's just gonna when she hears that, she's going to cast a spell, but it's going to be her eyes are going to alter their color from green to like a burning red, and it's going to like kind of have a glowing look, and she's just gonna glare over at Morning Star, and and she's like, you know what, I don't need you to like me. And then she's just gonna turn around and head back to the direction of where she thinks the rest of the sheep are gonna be.
Okay.
Does Damea see Truly Eyes do that?
If you were stood in the group, then yes, that would be a very noticeable thing. You don't need to roll for that at all. You would know, Demea, that this is a something that you can also do as a tiefling.
Oh, cool.
Should we move over back to the path and take that right pathway? See where the rest of the sheep are, if they're that way.
Lead the way.
All right. You guys follow the pathway down to the original clearing. You now take the one path that you haven't followed. This pathway kind of loops a little bit back and forth. It curves around, but after sort of a couple minutes or so, you find yourself in another clearing. You find a single sheep here. It looks up on your arrival and immediately kind of skitters off to the far side of the clearing. It is clearly a little bit more disturbed than the other ones were. A little bit more nervous.
You can do your think you could try your little sheepy trick on these again, Truly?
These
'Cause
don't.
that was way easier last time.
It was surprisingly easy. These guys don't look very content, though. I think we need to approach this calmly. And she's gonna just take a cautious steps forward and gauge their reaction.
Okay. There's only one.
One.
It's
Okay.
clearly a bit nervous, and not terribly happy with its situation, but it's not. But it doesn't like immediately flee from you or anything.
Going to continue cautiously walking towards it
Okay.
until
That's
I'm in
fine.
front of it, and I'm going to kind of do this similar thing. I'm going to crouch, and then reach out my hand to let it, offer it to sniff.
Make an animal handling check for me, please.
Oh man, can't I just keep my net 20 glory? Oh, that's a 7.
Okay. The sheep kind of looks at your hand, takes a tentative step forward, and lets out a very loud and distressed bleat right in your face.
It's going to spook Truly, and she's going to kind of fall back a little bit at the sudden loud noise in her face, and because she was caught off guard, she might have slipped a little bit of her control, and this might be what we use to trigger.
Okay, yeah, fine. So a little bit of wild magic slips out as Truly slips and is barked at by the sheep. At which point, you guys who are stood with Truly all notice a sort of little cloud of pink sparkles sort of around and above Truly's head as she kind of falls on her seat of on the seat of her the seat of her pants, and basically she's sort of sat on the ground. This little aura of pink sparkles starts, and Penny, I'm gonna for the sake of intro, I'm gonna say the roll was a 12
Okay.
on the table for me, please. Okay, so yeah, at that point the sheep, having bleated loudly in Truly's face, turns around and sort of skitters itself out of the clearing. There are 3 paths. There's one off to your left, there's one off to your right, there is one straight in front of you, and it basically runs off down the one that is straight in front of you.
Guys, help! I love you! She's gonna look really like, oh, damn it. And she's...
Quite a change. A little bit of fear in her, and all of a sudden she's fallen in love with me.
Oh, she's just gonna, like, kind of have this look of defeat and kind of, like, not know, and she's gonna go after one of them and just try and calmly shush them and just kind of go, shh, I love you. Shh, I love you. Shh, I love you.
Adrian will
Is she telling
approach...
the sheep she loves them?
Yeah, well, she could be, but the sheep has now, as soon as she starts to do this, has now exited the clearing. So
You're trying to make love to the sheep? We're trying to retrieve them.
Shut up! I love you. She's just sitting there like, you can see her anger.
I'm sorry. What was that? I didn't quite hear you.
Brimley, can you help me out, please? I love you.
What? This is awkward. The sheep. What?
Uh,
I
Grumbly, I think she's got a fetish for sheep. Because all of a sudden, another group of sheep, she sees them, now she's loving everything? It's like an aphrodisiac.
Do you have to assume the worst of everyone? Like,
that's the worst?
Thank you, Damaya. I love you.
Okay, what? I'm just gonna go find the sheep. I'm gonna go find the sheep.
Yeah. This is awkward. The sheep. Yeah, let's go.
And she's just gonna start nodding her head.
Find the sheep. Because I don't know what she's gonna do. We have to return them unharmed. So I think we need to go find these sheep.
She's just gonna like.
Is that okay with you, Truly?
Okay.
She's gonna hold up her thumb. That's it. She's gonna like not make eye contact and hold up her thumb.
And at this point, Truly, I'll ask for a wisdom save from you.
Thank you. Oh. That's a 10.
That's not over yet. So, you guys can obviously take either the left or right path, or you can follow the sheep down the straight on.
Demea's now just trying to get away from the awkwardness of the situation behind her and is following those sheep.
Okay, so Demea, you make your way down a path after a couple of minutes of plodding down this forest path. You emerge into another slightly smaller clearing this time. There are 3 sheep here, one of which basically just sort of comes out of the path slightly ahead of you. It's obviously the one that ran away from Truly, and it kind of runs across the clearing and kind of nestles into the others like it's sort of trying to hide a little bit. So there are 3 sheep, all fairly nervous, in front of you. What are you guys going to do?
Demea's gonna try to approach them carefully and is gonna hope that she doesn't start saying I love you if it bleeds at her.
Okay. Make an animal handling check, please, for me.
Ooh, 6.
At which point the sheep, kind of the nervous sheep from before, kind of sees you approaching. It's obviously not happy with its previous experience of tieflings, because it bleats at you nervously and turns around and skitters out of a path at the back of this clearing. And the other 2 sheep decide clearly it's got the right idea, and they follow it.
Now Demea's like, oh god, am I going to start saying I love you after every sentence?
And she does not.
Truly's like way in the background going, not as easy as it looks, does it? Or is it? I love you.
I'm just gonna look back at her in fear, like, what is happening?
she kind of has her hands like, sorry.
I told you that one was a weird one.
And then she's gonna rely on sign language with Adrian.
So
everyone gave me shit for saying it, but look what's happening now. We were just our first little adventure together, and she's already fallen in love with sheep and us, and she's a weird one.
I once heard of an adventurer called Stephen that fell in love with everything.
Yeah, I think I may have heard of him too. Didn't he get the clap and die?
I didn't heard that rumor. Tell me more.
I thought I heard something. I thought I heard something about that. It was something about a necromancer and weed flower. I don't know. He was a clumsy lad. I know that.
Truly is holding is like really conflicted because she wants to give snide remarks to Adrian, but she does not want to risk whatever has come over her to and risk saying I love you to him again. She's just like sitting there changing the color of her eyes.
Okay. At which point you can either turn around and go back the way you've come, or you can carry on following the sheep down the trail.
I think we need to
Well,
continue on. We need to get these sheep.
And the
Okay.
sheep
What
don't
do you-
like me, so after you, gentlemen.
Maybe you could actually do something this time, Morningstar. I love you. Oh.
Well, clearly, no matter what I do, you're going to love me. So, yeah, I believe we will go on to catch the rest of these sheep.
And then
Okay.
she's gonna
Without
say
making
to
up for it.
herself, "I hate him so much. I love me."
At which point, so Adrian leads the way down the forest path. The path kind of takes a bit of a turning off to the right, and gradually curves around until you sort of emerge into a little kind of grove of trees, where you can sort of just think you can make out through the forest as you kind of approach a number of sort of little white forms. As you kind of get a bit closer, Adrian, you can kind of see that you can see several sheep in this clearing, and as you kind of emerge into it, you realise that the three sheep that have run away from you have managed to kind of join two more. So there are 5 sheep in this clearing. But rather than looking agitated as they once were, they are now looking incredibly calm and relaxed. And the reason is because they are grazing on grass under the watchful eye of a centaur that is stood kind of watching them with this little benevolent smile on its face.
Well,
Don't say racist things to him, Adrian.
no, I've met many centaurs. All right, I kind of trust them, a little bit. I mean,
I'll believe that when I see
trust
it.
a lot of people, but I've never had an issue with a centaur.
The centaur
But-
looks up at you and kind of smiles, this sort of slightly beatific smile, and sort of says, a wise man. Not always so wise, but wise in this instance.
This guy
Have you
seems
been
smart.
watching over these sheep long?
I love me.
The centaur kind of cocks its head and looks at Trudy curiously and sort of crosses the clearing slowly, kind of very much kind of approaching you as you approach the sheep, sort of in an effort to be very calm and kind of not spook you, and it kind of reaches out towards you, Trudy, and he says, "May I, child?" And he has his hand sort of just a little bit above where your head is.
She's going to kind of feel a little tense because of everything that's happening, and then she's going to give a nod without saying anything.
He kind of rests his hand on sort of your forehead and the top of your head, and you feel a sort of sense of calm, and the sort of tides of chaos inside kind of recede at this point.
Wow, thank you so much.
He says, "You're very welcome." He says, "Now." He hears Demaya kind of speak up, and he stops and looks over.
You didn't say I love you.
I'm feeling better now. I'll explain it later, maybe. Whatever. I don't want to talk about it. Thank you so much for helping us, or me, I should say. I really hated that. We're trying to gather these sheep for the farmer that owns them.
"Ah, yes," says the centaur. "Lost sheep." And he looks over at the 4 of you and says, "Lots of those in these woods at the moment."
Have you
Do you
seen
know
sheep
of-
other places?
What do you know of these lost sheep?
Said, "Well, there are quite a few in this clearing at the moment." He says, I will happily see these home. There are some others, although you will need to turn around and take paths you have not yet trodden. Um, he says, I will happily aid you in this quest. Um, but know that I'm only passing through. My people are leaving these lands.
Oh, why are you leaving these lands?
Migration or by force?
By necessity. The stars foretell great evil stirs in Gurdorn. We wish to avoid any potential disasters that may befall these lands.
You mean the lights in the sky?
The signs did turn at that point, yes. We don't know what the nature of the threat is, but we know something terrible is coming. This area is involved somehow, but we don't know how. Therefore, we leave. I appreciate your desire to help the local people, but you should tread carefully.
Good advice.
You point us in the direction that you saw the sheep. There's many paths in these woods, and a little bit more direction would be helpful.
Yes, he says, return to the clearing with many paths. The second one along the trail back the way you came. Take a turn to the right, and you will be on the right path for the things you seek.
Sounds like a plan, guys. We're going. Thank you, Sentinel. Appreciate your help.
Your gratitude is noted and appreciated, good dwarf.
She's going to give another friendly nod at the centaur. Still not super comfortable around new folk, but she's grateful that he relieved her of that embarrassing situation.
He nods and he sort of ushers the sheep off down a different path out of the clearing.
All right, let's go get the rest of them. How many are left now? We did 3. He took how many?
He took 5.
5. Okay, so all right, 2 to go. She's just gonna kind of hang her head in embarrassment a little bit because of saying I love you so much to people she doesn't really know at all, and someone she doesn't like at all. And she's gonna just kind of start shuffling in that direction without saying anything.
Grumbly notices this awkwardness and offers his hand to Truly to guide her down the path as we walk down the path to find the other sheep.
She's gonna take it because of her fondness for Grumbly, and just kind of give a quiet thank you.
Okay, so you guys follow back to the clearing that the centaur told you to go to, and take the path that he told you. The path here seems to wind and go on for a lot longer than any of the other paths go, and you seem to be getting deeper and deeper into the woods. At a couple of points, the trail is actually quite difficult to follow, but you just about manage it. You emerge into another clearing. This clearing has a different feel to it than any of the others that you've yet been in. In a lot of the others before, kind of the silence of the woods felt a little bit eerie, as if kind of the bird song and the animal noises that were absent was somehow kind of a little bit unnatural. In this, it almost feels appropriate and respectful, and part of that may very well be the statue kind of stood in the middle of the clearing. You can't quite make out the exact form. It is clearly humanoid, It sort of has one kind of hand extended upwards and the other one kind of down near its midsection. It's so covered in moss you can't make out hardly any other features than that. But the sort of sunlight coming through the trees kind of strikes it in almost as if it was sort of being picked out by a spotlight. There are no sheep here. That there is one other path that is on the far side of the clearing.
She truly is going to release Grumbly's hand, quietly walk over to the statue, and just kind of gently place her hands on it and close her eyes and just kind of get a feel for the moment. And because there's just a certain feeling to this environment that she's going to just kind of take in, and then she's going to pull her hand back and join the others towards the other path.
Okay. What would the rest of you like to be doing?
Grumbly's just going to take a look around the clearing, sort of keeping his eye on Truly, because he's obviously aware now that she can attract all sorts of trouble.
Okay. Make a perception check for me, please, Grumbly.
Which dice do I need for this? This is it. No, I'm turning into
Oh my god, it's his first dice roll, everybody. Monkey's first dice roll. That you need the big D20.
Big D. The big D.
The big D, yes.
Can I polish my big D first?
Yes, change the game with your big D.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm rolling my big D, guys.
It's the heavy D. The heaviest of the D, yeah.
An 18.
18. His roll has both magnitude and direction. And with that, you notice fairly clearly around this clearing that there appear to be the signs of a struggle, almost as if something has kind of. You notice a couple of hoof prints, but you also notice a couple of other kind of impressions in the ground, like other kinds of footprints. They look almost kind of animal-like. You're not quite sure what they are, but. They're sort of three-toed, and then there are sort of like the clear signs of something being dragged along the ground near to the path on the other side of the clearing.
Grumbly's gonna beckon over Adrian. Hey, Moomin Troll, come over here a second. You've been around. What do you think to these footprints?
Are you speaking of to me? Yeah,
That's your name, isn't it?
No, it's Morning Shade.
Ah, that's right. Yeah. These I don't recognise these footprints.
Adrian walks over to Grumbly and kneels down to inspect the footprints further.
You can make a nature check for me, please, Adrian.
5.
You are not sure. You're kind of more used to dealing with cities and their environs, and footprints are not your strong suit.
Truly is going to see Adrian kneeling down to look, and she's just gonna peek over and see if she can figure it out herself based on her studies and all the time she's looked through books.
Nature check for me, please.
That's a 7.
You are not sure either.
And she's only gonna do the peek and be like, doesn't know, and then she's just gonna kind of lean back and not say anything.
Debea, you seem to be very wise. Do you have any insight into what this might be?
I can take a look and see.
Nature check for me.
19.
Okay, so you have been out on kind of trips around the forest and so on with Gorion, your former master, and he had shown you tracks of kind of common menaces that could occasionally disrupt the harmony of the forest. You recognize these as footprints belonging to a kobold.
So I'm gonna share that with the rest of the group that they're kobold footprints.
Kobolds. Oh, God. Vile creatures. Not good.
Oh, this is not looking good for the last sheep. Last two sheep, right? Yeah. Let's see. We have to go see if there's anything that is left, if they're alive.
Okay. All right. So there's this other path to take. How are you going to proceed?
Read the order.
Mm-hmm. Down the path.
The order, the style, the manner, however you want to put it.
Walk this way.
I know.
Nemea can go first.
Yep.
I will follow Demea.
Truly's going to stay behind Grumbly because she doesn't want to walk behind Adrian. He smells bad.
All right. So you walk down the forest path, and you sort of get to a point where you see the light starting to increase, the trees starting to thin out a little bit. You realize you're rapidly coming up onto the edge of a large clearing. You get to the edge of that clearing and realize that you have stumbled upon a group of kobolds. They appear to have been some sort of hunting party, judging by the kind of a number of bows and nets and so on and so forth that they are equipped with. There are 8 of them. 6 of them appear to have been kind of resting on the ground, but 2 of them at least appear to have noticed your approach, and they have kind of started to rouse the others out of their sleep. And at that point, what I'm going to ask is that you all roll for initiative, and then we will pick it up at the start of our next session with the combat.
That's 13 for Truly.
7.
Rolling my big one, yeah?
Right.
Yeah, your biggest D.
Oh, fantastic. A 2.
18.
Okay. And having rolled for initiative, we will pick it up next time with that combat, and that is where we will end our first session. Thank you very much. Guys.
Holy crap, that was awesome. And we're gonna go ahead and switch back over to just live session without art and wrap this up together. And for everybody in chat, thank you so much for being with us on this journey. Yeah, this was exciting.
Thank you guys. That was so well supported as well. Really massive thank you to everybody who stepped
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for supporting my massive D.
Yes.
And all the jokes in chat were absolutely perfect.
Oh my god.
Massive weapon proved to be the big draw of the evening.
It made it it made it a challenge to not just sit there and start laughing my ass off. And I know Aqua had to hold in so many snorts. All the snorts.
It was hard. It was very hard.
also going to draw your attention to the poll that I put up on who we're going to raid. I want to keep it D&D themed, and we do have 2 awesome DMs that are currently streaming. So we're going to go ahead and choose between Robert Hartley and Dead Aussie Gamer.
Is it worth mentioning that our next session won't be on Friday next week?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that is very important to mention. And I'm going to. So we agreed on the 24th, a Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Right.
Okay, and we might be doing a
it
shorter
might be-
session.
It might be slightly shorter. It might be more like 2 hours than 3.
Okay.
But I shall see.
And then we can just kind of hang out for the rest of the session and talk and let Aldous get to bed and all that.
Yeah,
But,
stupid work, stupidness.
I know, it's so crazy.
Real life
Getting in the
ruins
way of
everything.
D&D.
Yeah, so next we discussed it, and next Friday didn't work. So we were like, okay, well, what about Saturday? And then it didn't work for like almost all of us. So then it was like, do we cancel
So many
a week
weddings,
after first
so many
starting?
weddings.
Oh my God, that's June of June.
Yeah.
June of June. So yeah, it became a conversation. Do we straight up cancel the second week after we just started this campaign? After all this hype, or do we pick a day that's not normal for us to stream on? So we're gonna make Thursday work, and this is how we're gonna try and plan to do this each and every week. We're gonna attempt not to make cancellations unless it's absolutely necessary. Never doing a session where one of us is gonna be missing or unable to obviously be there. That's this. Oh no! Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you guys for truly and sheep romance is the canon. Okay? That's actually a good.
Romancing everything.
Is there a 24th? Is there a might be a good time for those in chat to share like their favorite moments of the session and like any thoughts they want to share in general, and we can all just kind of talk about it.
I'm not sure Sheep Love should be up there. Is that Twitch friendly?
After all,
it's no more Twitch unfriendly than you and truly repeatedly using the back entrance.
It's a thing.
Oh my God.
Hashtag backdoor friends.
You were at that point known in chat as the Backdoor Gang at one point.
It's our friendship hashtag. Hashtag backdoor friends. It's gonna be like their thing. Like every time they're gonna be like, Demaya and Adrian are gonna be like, okay, let's go into this inn and figure out what's going on with this place. And me and Grebling are gonna be like, yeah. We'll see in a second as we wrap around.
Oh dear.
Oh God.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
Yeah, I did like the way that the notice that in the town that you read like very clearly said go find the shopkeeper, and you guys like, so bar.
This is exactly what we'd be like when we meet in real life.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be
Pretty much. Bar?
Yeah.
It's like, well, we're supposed to meet up with the rest of them at the convention, the Viva La Dirtly convention. And we're like, Booze?
To be fair, though, we'll probably all be at the bar anyway.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. Juju laughed until her face hurt. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Well, we've entertained everybody.
that's true.
Again, I'd encourage people to, if anybody's inspired, do send us some art.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
Stick
And
figure
welcome.
art is highly encouraged and welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're doing the session on Thursday, if you can get it to us by,
Wednesday. Yeah.
at the latest.
Yeah.
Tuesday
We'll
would
post
be
it in. There's a
preferred,
thread.
but-
There's a
But
Discord
whenever.
thread.
But whenever.
I can make a
that's the
thread
thing.
in the Discord. I can.
There's a Discord thread for the Time of the Wolf anyway.
There is.
Yeah.
There is,
There
yes.
absolutely is.
Yeah, drop it in there. But yeah.
I can always make a submitted art section as well.
We have a lot of the backdoor agreement, backdoor friends. Voodoo O saying Mucky popping his cherry with the big D. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
There you go. There's no taking it back now, Mucky.
Yeah.
You rolled a d20 officially in a game.
And it was all caught on stream. Oh,
And
Video evidence has
his
been
excitement
captured.
over it, him polishing the D, and then really just kind of getting into that shaking movement, you know.
He's like, oh, this D has some heft to it. Oh, it's quite heavy. Ooh,
Yeah, I like it.
Really
I find myself,
really give it a J.
Yeah, like you heard that big finish of it being, thrown, and it was quite a high number, wasn't it? Yeah, something impressive, something to behold, really.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Hats off to our DM by the
Yes.
writing.
Absolutely.
Just
Yeah.
I was
What a
not
legend.
expecting that to be the opening. I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. He switched it up on us.
what
yeah, I kind of did.
a-
Kind of did. Oh dear. Aqua did very well fielding the whole opening, by the way. Thank you, Aqua. You handled that like a
fun.
champ.
like all of a sudden, I was like, okay, Deme has finally formed in my head because I literally up until that moment, I was like, I still don't really know how I'm gonna play her. Then I was like, oh, this helps.
Yeah.
Good night, Nine. Have a lovely dinner.
Love
your
the
face.
interactions that we all had. The
Yeah.
back and forth, the playing, I think it was really well done.
That was.
I really want to do that.
It helps that Master Lemuel kind of popped into my head as like the most absolute jerkiest of jerks, and I was like, well, this gives somebody to play off.
Right.
God, he is such a jerk. I hope we get to see him again because it's fun to be mad at him.
I was okay. I'm gonna just say, watching that, I was really hoping that you were gonna just take your anger and your rage out on his face and just like walk out and just like pow, and then run away.
I really wanted to, but then I remembered we're level 1 and was like, I have strict orders not to rush in and die.
Thank you. Yeah, like it's so lovely getting to learn about her. Oh, she's dead. All right, gotta contact Asia with more art.
Yeah, really.
So,
Yeah. I was a little bit worried that you would like pick a fight with him in like the opening scene, and I was just gonna have him beat you unconscious essentially, and like throw you out of the building. That was essentially how the game would have started. So.
It was close. She was really close to reaching for her hammer, and then I figured, with her dead mentor behind her, she'd be like, no, fight it.
Yeah. That was so fun. And I honestly, so like, I didn't know how Truly was gonna interact with Demea. Demaya, I'm gonna have to. I am so sorry. Demea. Okay. All right, I'll give you a drink of water. But that was actually perfect because I feel like Adrian just jumped in with his nonsense, like going, "Can you blink? Do you know how?" And it just made it like so easy to just be like, "Sisters united against the douchebag." And
I was like, he asked if I could read.
Or evolved having to deal with chat and picking up instantly on the name thing. That was
Oh god.
That was so great.
Yes. Adria Moo and Shoe is currently trending.
Morning wood, morning powder, everything.
Yeah, that was amazing.
But it was great because you made it a thing like immediately with the mayor, and then it just went from there. So that was wonderful.
Because the history of that's just so funny.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Everything that you guys were doing in chat, we have been doing over DMs for like months.
4 months.
Yeah. And the thing is
Morning star.
I don't know.
The weariness in Evolve's face every time he has to deal with another one of those comments.
I love. He's like trying. He's like, well, now you're just being patronizing, and it's just like.
Yeah, like you would think it's just a funny character trait that he's role playing. He's not. He's actually really pissed off.
So much trolling.
Yeah.
It's okay. I've got a solution for it. It's revenge.
Yeah.
A
Revenge.
fucking choice of words. Damn it.
Revenge boner.
I love
No.
the broodiness of the character and how none of us are taking it seriously either. He's like, you don't know what I've seen, you don't know what I've done, and he's all just like serious, and it's like this big important moment. And we're like,
My favorite part is too.
I was going to
he
say
says
the
two tieflings.
the chat at that point in our DM thing was just like full of gifs taking the mick out of him. Terribly. Oh,
Quite a few, yeah.
That's funny.
I love that the character says it to two tieflings. It's like, and we're both like, yeah, hardly.
That was
Little
really,
bit.
that was
Yeah.
really well done.
Right?
That whole the introduction stuff was brilliant.
Oh my god, yes.
yeah.
I hope there's more. I hope there's more reviews for you, Pele. You too.
Sweet Grumbly is gonna just be in the middle of all of it, just like basically the he's gonna be like, I'm a friend to all, and me and Aqua are just like this to everybody. We're just like,
he just wants money. He just
Yeah.
wants to get on with it
Yeah.
and get rich.
yeah,
Yeah, he wants it. He wants his money and potentially some lamb.
some land. Yeah, there we go.
I have a feeling. We found all but one. Oops.
Yeah.
All
We
right,
don't know what happened to it.
we are officially sending this raid through. Please stick around for the raid, everybody. That would be much appreciated. Dag is awesome, and I would love to pass it along to somebody doing D&D. He's currently doing Pathfinder, going on with his campaign. This was absolutely amazing.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming out and watching. And
Yeah.
you know,
If you've got any
Yeah.
friends that like
Labs.
D&D,
Pure
send
labs.
them our way.
Yes, we're gonna
Yes.
continue on. If you want to hype this up as much as you want, if you're an artist and you want to see your art on the next session, we will post it up along with our character portraits. It will cycle through and include your art. Please, spread the word. Spread the word of how fun this was, because I had a blast, and I'm so excited to continue on next
Spread
week.
the word of Mucky's mighty weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, his quite impressive, large weapon. Yes.
Hefty.
Yeah.
Mm.
Just remember how Evolved described one of the guns in PUBG. That's how, yeah. Anyways,
That's what it is.
go show the love. We will see you next Thursday. My stream is going to continue on Monday, and have a lovely day or night wherever you guys are at. Bye.
Thank you.